Good morning, guys. Please make sure that you fill out the attendance form that is posted in the stream. I'm showing it right now on the screen. It is right here, Virial attendance check-in. Please make sure that you fill that out before you go to your classwork tab and you find the video for today. Okay, in your classwork tab, we are in T3, week 2. Today's date is 1/12/21, and we are starting the Introduction to Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, on your assignment list here, there are 3 things posted. There will be 4 after I attach this video. The sign in is your assignment. That's the Pear Deck. Link is the Desmos calculator. Go ahead and have that open because you're going to need it. And then Virial attendance check-in, that's the same thing that I posted in the stream. So if you already filled it out in the stream, you do not have to fill it out again here in your assignment section, okay? Pythagorean theorem deals with right triangles. So if you notice, I'm already in the Pear Deck, okay? The goal for today is to identify the 3 different sides of the triangle, okay? So if you notice here in our formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, okay? So that means we need a number for each of those letters. We need a number for A, we need a number for B, and we need a number for C, okay? So in order to figure out those numbers or some of those numbers, we have to look at our picture, okay? So a right triangle means that one of the corners makes 90 degrees, okay? Perfect right angle. Okay, the short side is the leg A. So the sides, we call them legs. So it's side A and side B. Side C is what we call the hypotenuse. And if you notice on the screen, they're labeled for you. So the short side is A, long leg is B, and then the diagonal, or the one that's crossing, is C. That's your hypotenuse. Okay, so your goal for today is to identify those sides. Okay, parts or pieces of the triangle will be labeled for you, and then it's going to be up to us to fill out the rest of what we need. Okay, so once you have those lengths labeled or identified, what you're going to do is you're going to take the square of them. So for instance, if my side A is 2, I'm going to square it. I'm going to say 2 times 2, which would be 4. So the area of A squared, right? A squared would be 4. If my side B, if my length was 3, I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to square it. So it's going to be 3 times 3, which would be 9. Okay? And you don't have to memorize that. A lot of us are going to want to do 3 times 2, which would be 6, right? But that means you're just multiplying by 2. These are the areas, so we're multiplying the same number by itself. So it's 3 times 3, which would be 9, not 6. Okay, that's just a little overview of what we're going to be doing. Okay, let's move on. All right, so here on this slide, notice how all 3 sides are labeled for you. Not labeled, they're already measured, I'm sorry. So it's going to be up to you to identify side A, side B, and side C. I'll give you a hint. The hypotenuse is always the diagonal or the slanted line. Okay, so if you need to change your picture to be what you need it to be, so that way you know which one is being slanted or diagonal, then you got to kind of like turn or think that you can turn it so that way that hypotenuse is always slanted. Okay, the short side is always your A, the long side is your B, and then the cross or diagonal, the hypotenuse, is C. So you're going to go ahead and take those angle measurements, side measurements, and put them over here. So my A, and you can even put it here in the box if you want to. So I'm going to call this A. I'm going to call this one B because it's my long side, and then this would be C. So I'm going to take those numbers and I'm going to go fill them in the blank over here. So my A was 3, my B was 4, and my C was 5. Okay. All right, so now we're going to square them. So now it's A squared, B squared, C squared. So I'm going to take this number and I'm going to square it. So I'm going to take my 3 and it's going to be squared. I'm going to take my B, which was 4, and it's going to be squared. I'm going to take my 5 and it's going to be squared. Okay, so for that part, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to use Desmos, so that way you don't get confused on doing 3 times 2, 4 times 2, 2 times 2, like that. Okay, so open your keypad down here in Desmos. The first one we're going to do is the 3 squared, so we've got to hit the number 3. And then right here you see this A2 key. It just looks like A with a little 2. If you click on that, it automatically does the squared for you. And then we know our answer is 9. So I'm going to go ahead and go fill that in real quick. So A squared was 9. If you already know 4 times 4, you know that it's 16. Perfect. Go put that. But I'm going to show you how to do it here on Desmos. 14. Hit your A squared key. Oops. I did not mean to do 14. Sorry. 4, I was thinking the answer. Squared is 16. So I'm going to go take that. So my B squared, 16. And now my C squared, which is 5. Go ahead and hit your A2 button, A squared. It squares it. So my answer is 25. So my C squared is 25. Okay, next slide. Okay, so now on this slide, you're identifying what needs to be filled in, right, from the picture, the diagram. So you're going to go ahead and first you need to label your A, your B, and your C. Okay, once you have those numbers labeled, you're going to go and get that information. So for side A, the area of A squared would be 36, right? Because that's my side A. My side B is the long side. So B squared, the area is already 64. We squared whatever number and we got 64. And then so now my C is 100 because that's what information I have in that square. Okay, so now we're going to have to work backwards to figure out what the length of them was. Okay, so now we had the area, right? We started with the area now. So what we do is we say the square root. Remember that symbol when we were ordering numbers? The square root of that number will give us A, the side that we need, the length of it. Okay, if we take the square root of 64, it's going to give me the length of side B. And then if we take the square root of C, it's going to give me the length that I need for B. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go input those on the calculator. Okay, so remember the square root key is down here next to ABC. Okay, one of those numbers I remember was 64, so I'm going to do that first. So 64 was 8. So that was my square B. So my side for B, the measurement is 8. Okay, 36 is another number, so square root, we've got to put the number 36 underneath. The length for that side would be 6. And then now we got to go do the same for 100. So square root 100, 10. Okay, so this is when we had the area of the square already. You take the square root to work backwards and to do opposite, so that way you can get the length of that side. Okay? Okay, here on slide 6, there are links for you to click on. Please make sure that you click those links and you watch the videos, okay, because it is showing you a proof of how when you square side A and when you square side B, once you add those two together, you should get side C squared, okay? So like for instance, on this side, if we add 36 and 64, if we add those two together, we should get 100. Because remember our formula was a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Right? So if we add that 36, 64, it should give us 100. Okay? And that's what those videos are proving for you guys. So if you go ahead and watch those videos, it kind of gives you a better idea of what we're actually trying to accomplish with that Pythagorean theorem. Okay? So the rest of the slides, okay, are for you to try to practice. So sometimes you were given the length of a side and you have to figure out what that side is squared, right? So for instance, for side A, right, that's my shortest side, I'm given the length of that side, which is 5, right? So it's going to be my job to figure out what 5 squared is. So 5 times 5, easy one, we do that in our head, 25, right? And so now you've got to figure out the rest of the triangle. If you are given the opposite, right? If we are given C for B, notice how I'm given already the area. Remember, we have to work backwards. So we got to find the square root of this to find the length of that side. Okay? So the rest of the slides you are filling in the tables, okay, based off of what type of information you were given. So it's best if you label the sides first, A, B, C, and then go from there and work backwards. Okay? If you get stuck, okay, you can always send me some questions that you guys might have so I can make sure that we go over those first thing when I'm back in class, okay? And yeah, I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye.